In Sweden, around 25,000 people are reported missing every year. Although the vast majority of those people are found, about 2,700 of them are discovered dead. Linda Chen unfortunately became one of those statistics after she suddenly and inexplicably vanished in the summer of 2009. In today's episode, we'll be diving into the mystery. Linda Chen was born in China in 1977. At the age of 15, she moved to Sweden, and for a brief period of time, she lived in a refugee facility as she waited for her family to join her. While living in the facility, she met Aino Johansson, a woman who became very close to Linda and who Linda saw as a mother figure. Aino described Linda as someone deeply interested in fashion and music who took pride in her appearance. One of her favorite things to do was sing karaoke. As an adult, Linda had several failed relationships. Her first resulted in the birth of her son, but ended terribly when the man attacked Linda, leading to him being charged with attempted murder. Linda would go on to marry twice, but neither union lasted. In the spring of 2008, however, she began a relationship and seemed happy about it when she met Mats Alm, a man a few years older than her, on an online dating site. They became engaged 2 months after their first date. By all accounts, it was a whirlwind romance, with the pair discussing marriage from day one and moving in together shortly after they met. Mats, for his part, was born in Sweden in 1975. He had spent a year living in Peru with his wife, who was a native of the country before their marriage broke down. He had reportedly paid for the pair's wedding by embezzling around $10,000 from his job at a cafe. And when he met Linda, he was deeply in debt from both the use of credit cards and bank loans. In 2008, he was studying to become a teacher and was unemployed, using a student loan to make ends meet. Notably, between 2008 and 2009, Linda, who was quite comfortable financially, transferred $10,000 to Mats to help settle his debts and keep him afloat during the summer when he wasn't in school. She also paid for a trip to China, where the couple met Linda's extended family, the trip costing around $10,000, and she paid the $6,000 that the wedding was going to cost them, although Mats promised he would reimburse her. Furthermore, at some point after becoming engaged, the two decided to set up life insurance policies, naming one another as beneficiaries. Linda also set up a trust fund for her son, which he would gain access to when he turned 18. Until he did, however, Mats was able to access and control the funds. 32-year-old Linda was last seen on August 1st, 2009, in Fallon. She arrived home after her waitressing shift finished at 4 p.m. and proceeded to get changed. Mats was watching TV, and she informed him that she was meeting a friend later that evening. At 4:20, about 10 minutes after she had arrived home, Linda and Mats drove to a local supermarket to do some shopping for a meal they would be having with Mats' parents the following day. About 20 minutes later, the couple left the store. They were captured exiting the store on CCTV. This is the last known confirmed sighting of Linda. The account of her movements after this point, told by her fiancé, Mats Alm, has not been corroborated by further witnesses. According to Mats, after dropping their shopping back home, he and Linda set off on a 2.5-hour drive looking for sightseeing locations where they could take Linda's family, who were coming to the pair's August 8th wedding. They stopped by the church where the ceremony would be held and at the venue where the reception would take place. The couple eventually arrived home at 8 p.m., where they had a late dinner, and Linda began preparing for her night out. The last time Mats saw Linda alive was at 9 p.m., when she left the apartment to meet her friend. Between 1:09 a.m. and 8:13 a.m., Mats called and texted Linda, only to be met with silence. He attempted to report her missing to the police at 9:01 a.m. and 10:44 a.m., but both times he was shrugged off by the authorities, who told him that Linda was likely just asleep at her friend's house. 3 hours passed, and at 1:03 p.m., Mats called Tony, the friend Linda had gone to see, but he claimed that he hadn't seen her and didn't have plans with her for the evening of August 1st. Mats called Linda 8 more times between 1:30 and 4 p.m. before reporting Linda missing at 4:02 p.m. The police took his call seriously this time, and an investigation into the missing 32-year-old's whereabouts began. As law enforcement began their investigation, it quickly became clear to them that something was amiss. No neighbors saw the couple return home from the shops. Nobody saw them while they were out on their lengthy drive and stopping at various venues. Nobody saw them return home again that night, and nobody saw Linda leave her apartment at 9 p.m. Mats claimed that their wedding reception venue was empty and quiet, but according to the venue's records, there was a family reunion taking place that night, consisting of 60 people. One small detail her family noticed was that according to Mats' story, Linda didn't change her outfit, despite washing her hair and applying her makeup for going out that night. Linda, by all accounts, loved fashion and dressing up, and looking and feeling good. When she went out at night, she often dressed to the nines. Her loved ones found it odd that she hadn't bothered to do so that night, even though she had done her hair and makeup. On August 6th, just days after Linda vanished, her friend Tony was interviewed by the police. Tony told investigators what he had told Mats, that he hadn't seen Linda on the night of her disappearance, and they'd had no plans to meet. He explained that, in fact, he never met up with Linda on her own. He only ever met her at her workplace, where he knew some of her colleagues. The following day, the police spoke with the father of Linda's child, but he had a strong alibi for the night that she went missing. On August 7th, Linda's family arrived in Falun. Bizarrely, they didn't know that the 32-year-old was missing at first. They had flown in for the wedding. According to reports, Mats showed the family around, including taking them to an area with holiday cabins that was less than a mile from where Linda would later be found, and he seemed happy. He didn't initially tell them that Linda was gone, and it's unclear when they were made aware and who informed them. However, once the family knew, they helped with the search, as did Mats. Authorities combed through wooded areas, while the 32-year-old's loved ones drove and walked around the city, looking for any trace of her. They even consulted a psychic. However, no evidence that would indicate where Linda was or where she'd been was ever discovered. Meanwhile, the story made newspaper headlines across the country, and Mats was interviewed on TV, but no new leads came from the steady stream of attention to the case. Meanwhile, Mats appeared to just go on with life as normal. He started a new job as a substitute teacher on August 17th, with his colleagues commenting that he seemed content and even cheerful, and there was nothing abnormal about him or his behavior. 5 days later, on the 21st, he reportedly spoke with Linda's close friend and mother-like figure, Aino Johansson, who revealed to him that Mats could wait as long as 10 years to declare Linda dead. Mats reportedly told Aino that he couldn't wait that long. The exact context of this conversation is unclear, but strange all the same. On September 2nd, Mats made another TV appeal, but no useful information came from it. Finally, on September 15th, he was told he would need to come in for an interview with the police the following day. According to his colleagues, this was when Mats began seeming anxious and upset. It was the first time that his new co-workers had seen him in such a state. After leaving work at 5 p.m. that same day, Mats purchased a pizza from a local pizzeria before heading home and spending the evening alone while watching TV. According to Mats, his quiet night was interrupted at 8:30 when there was a knock at the door. Through the peephole, Mats believed that he saw Tony and opened the door. To his surprise, however, the man was not Tony, and he had a second individual with him, armed with a knife. The pair forced their way into the apartment and gave Mats 2 pills, informing him they were taking him to see his fiancée. Mats took the pills and fell asleep on the sofa. It is unclear what transpired in the next 23 hours before Mats woke up in the trunk of a car. He banged on the lid before the 2 men, described as being Chinese, opened it. They reportedly asked Mats where Linda's money was, but he told them that he didn't know what they were talking about. The men gave Mats 2 more pills and a bottle of water and closed the trunk again. The following day, September 17th at 9:30 a.m., Mats woke up. Again, He was in the trunk of a car. He screamed until the two men, the same men as before, opened it. Mats told them he needed to use the toilet and he was hungry, and was given old chop suey to eat and a cup to relieve himself in. When they asked about Linda's money again, he told them once more that he didn't know anything. Mats was supplied with more pills and the trunk was closed again. Several hours later, at 2 p.m., Mats woke up. Screaming for the men to open the trunk, he told them he needed to go to the bathroom. He was let out to squat next to the car, parked in a wooded area, to go to the bathroom. Like before, he was placed back in the car's boot and given more pills. On September 18th, at 12:30 p.m., Mats woke up and shouted for water. The two men gave him a bottle of water and more pills before closing the trunk. He woke up once more 4 hours later. He was lying on the ground and realized that he was on fire, causing him to promptly pull off and discard his burning shirt. Next to him, he noticed another body, a woman in a white dress covered with branches. According to Mats, he knew it was Linda, as she was wearing that dress when she'd gone out the night of her disappearance. He then realized that his trousers were alight, and he put out the fire before fleeing the scene. Running out onto Highway 80, Mats attempted to flag down some passing vehicles before dashing to the first of several nearby holiday cabins, where he began yelling to one of the residents that his name was Mats Alm and he'd found Linda Chen. The resident immediately called the emergency services and then noticed that Mats had some superficial burns on his body and provided him with water to pour on them, which Mats did. The resident then gave Mats a blanket, which he wrapped around himself as they waited for first responders to arrive. While this entire ordeal had been unfolding, however, we know that suspicious activity connected to Mats was also taking place. At 7 p.m. on September 16th, the first time that Mats woke up in the trunk of a car, someone used his camera to take photos in Stockholm. This individual also took a selfie, and they bear a striking resemblance to Mats Alm. On the morning of September 17th, when Mats woke up for a second time, somebody in a Stockholm library used his laptop to connect to the library's Wi-Fi. This individual searched on the internet for Mats's ex-wife, a former student of his, and a friend he had from high school. His laptop connected again to public transport Wi-Fi on September 17th at 2 p.m. Several witnesses reported that a man fitting Mats' description was using the laptop on the bus. On September 18th, the day that Mats was left in the woods with Linda's remains, a man resembling him was seen in Tällberg by several witnesses who reported the sightings to the police, as the authorities were, at this point, looking for Mats after he failed to turn up for his interview. Once in police custody, he was asked about the photograph taken in Stockholm. According to Mats, while he could see the resemblance, the photo was not of him, and he did not have the hat the man in the photo was wearing. In the years since Linda's body was recovered, Mats has not changed his story and maintains his innocence. He believes that the Chinese men who abducted him had framed him, sending a lookalike around Sweden with his belongings to make it look as if he were guilty and on the run. He did not suggest a reason as to why the men would then attempt to kill him via burning. Mats' laptop and camera were both located at his parents' house after he was found. Among the items, investigators recovered a letter that told his family he was tracking Linda's killers and that if he didn't return, he loved them. Mats claimed that he didn't write the letter, although it was proven to have been written in his handwriting. Notably, Mats' blood was tested to see if he had been drugged, and the results were negative. The post-mortem examination of Linda's body revealed that she had died sometime between the 1st and the 9th of August. However, the cause of death was unable to be determined due to decomposition. There is no evidence that indicated the 32-year-old died at the hands of another. Mats was tried for Linda's murder, but was found not guilty. While he was sentenced to 18 months in prison for desecrating a corpse, because investigators did not believe his story and theorized that he had moved Linda's body and covered her with branches, he was let go shortly after his conviction, as he had been in custody since before the trial began. Mats appears to no longer speak with the press, simply telling them no comment when he is approached by Swedish reporters. Although investigators and locals believe him to be the most likely guilty party, there is simply not enough evidence for him to be successfully convicted, especially since Linda's cause of death can't be established. Her case is still unsolved. And there you have the facts. Please leave a comment down below with your own theories and speculations, and remember to like this video and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you for watching. Stay alert, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.